All right, welcome to mycloudNews. This is September's edition. Today we've got some presenters. Chris has joined us from Jabra, and he's going to talk to us about the new Jabra Panacast, which is the perfect bundle with Microsoft Teams rooms. We also have Kenny Coe, who's our new solutions architect, and he's going to join us to give you an update on the Azure tools. And also we've got Simon Tabron, who's going to give us an overview of our Teams calling bundles with Cordia. So we've got a bit of an action-packed agenda here today. So first I will go through Microsoft Learning, then cover off some new tools that have been launched under Microsoft 365 Launchpad. Then an overview on Teams, so what's new. We've got a 6-month trial, the new whiteboard feature, and then Chris will present around the Panacast, followed by Simon doing the Teams calling solutions, and then an Azure update from Kenny. And I'll come back on board after that and give you guys an overview of the upcoming events and training. So first off, I just wanted to cover off Microsoft Learning. So there is a great learning site for you guys to all access, and it's an online learning portal where you can train for all the different areas, from technical to sales orientated. So I'm just going to go through into a short presentation. Won't be a second. When I get the view correct. Give me a moment. Right, I'm just going to go from here. Unfortunately, I've got a little bit of a technical difficulty here. So Microsoft Learning. So Microsoft released this portal available to you guys. Now, within this portal, we have free training, on-demand training, and it is bite-sized content. So I've actually done the Microsoft 365 fundamentals training myself. It's a 3.5-hour course through Microsoft Learning, but it is modules, and it is about 20 minutes per module. So it's easy to go through in your own time or during work, whatever works for you best. There's some great reporting features in there as well, and all the courses will link to certifications through Microsoft that you need to achieve any competencies. The 3 pitches that you need to learn for basically for Microsoft Learning is Azure, Microsoft 365, and also there's Dynamics 365 and a Power Platform. There's also technical skills and training within that portal. And lastly, as I said before, you've got tracking and training efforts. So there's reporting capabilities that are available for you to help manage your Teams training activities. Also New Zealand training events, technical journeys, and global talent shortage. So I encourage you to all go to Microsoft Training online today and start that journey. And on this way that I'll send out, I will you'll get a link through on the Microsoft Training link. Now, if I just go back to my sway, this won't be a second. Right, sorry, a bit of a technical difficulty there. So Microsoft Launchpad is the next one that I wanted to cover off. So this is a tool that's been out for a while, but there's a new resources and tools available within that. Now, I encourage you to go and have a look. It is really targeted at SMBs, and you can use these tools to customize your own sales sheets and pitch decks, and also comparison sheets for comparing the plans side by side. So here's just a view of a couple of, these are the sales sheets that you can download. Once you download them, they'll have your logo and everything on them. Then you've got your pitch decks, and also a comparison chart as well, which you can build and present to your customers. They do have what they call a secure deployment planning tool. So this is a tool to support your customers' needs, as well as building out your own professional services. And that includes deploying Microsoft 365, configuring all the security features, and configuring Microsoft 365 Business to protect your sensitive data, and providing ongoing services. So when you're in Launchpad, you can find the planning tool under Tools from the top line navigation, and this will display your planning landing page, which hosts your new and in progress plans. So I encourage you to go on and have a look at that. It's a great tool. So Microsoft Teams. Microsoft Teams, we've got a new 6-month trial. So that was released on the 1st of August. The new trial offerings enable you to provide a full power version of Teams on a 6-month trial to your customers. So it's great opportunity if you've got any customers that are using business essentials or business plans and you're wanting to move into Teams. It does give you a full version of it for 6 months, and you receive the 2 gig of SharePoint online storage plus all the extras in there. So there are some links here at the bottom here. There's a team trial overview, just some guidelines around that that you can access this trial from. One new awesome feature that has just been released under Microsoft Teams is a new whiteboard feature. So this feature works with the Teams Rooms app, and it brings basically a content camera that enables you to see the whiteboard if you are working remotely. It uses artificial intelligence in the Microsoft Cloud to superimpose that whiteboard. So if you've got someone standing in front of it, you'll be able to actually see the content through that person, as you can see in the picture there. So I am going to play you a video. Now, with videos, there is no sound via Teams events, but you'll see captions for it. So just play this quickly. All right, so hopefully that gave you an overview of Microsoft Teams Rooms. Now, to get this all working, you do require a external speaker device as well. So, sorry, camera device as well. And that's where I'm just going to pass over to Chris from Jabra, and he is going to talk around the new Jabra Panacast.
Thanks, Janine. I appreciate being invited to the webinar. For anyone who doesn't know me, my name is Chris Clark. I'm the Channel Manager for Jabra in New Zealand. And recently we acquired a company called Altea Systems, and on August 15th launched Jabra Panacast. So Jabra Panacast is the world's first 180-degree 4K panoramic huddle space camera, and also the world's first team certified camera. Jabra being new to market, we currently have speakers and now Jabra Panacast, and we're liaising currently with Exeed, but obviously some of you being familiar with huddle space yourself, we would look to integrate Panacast into your own solutions. So I'm available to take you through Panacast and show you demos, etc. But I just wanted to take you a little bit through what Panacast is, how it works, and why it's unique. And to do that, I'll just take you quickly under the hood of what it is. So Panacast is the size of a little bit larger than a credit card. So it's actually a very small device, and it has three 13.3 megapixel cameras, which using an AI chipset inside the actual camera stitches all three frames together at about 18 inches from the camera. So as you can see in this image, 1, 2, and 3 overlap about 18 inches. And after that, at a real-time algorithm of about 3 to 5 milliseconds, those screens start stitching. And as long as you're not inside that 18-inch overlap, the algorithm using a weightage and facial recognition will stitch around you. So essentially, you don't have a large slice going right through you, and it essentially holds a perfect 180-degree full 100% use of space video. That processor processes 300 megapixels per second at 39.8 megapixel camera combined, and that's AI sensing. It's doing a little bit more than just using the algorithm to do the stitching, but with Jabra we have an open API and SDK platform, and we have some partners that use HuddleSpa, use the Panacast with their own software to book meetings, unbook meetings purely on facial recognition, right down to the fact that someone's in the room, someone's not in the room. So it's actually a little bit more than just a camera. We brought it out to play in the huddle space area, and as we know, rooms are, well, phenomenon is taking place where office space is starting to shrink, but people seem to be going up, and so it's all about utilising real estate. And Jabra Panacast, being team certified, is the perfect solution for your smaller meeting rooms. And saying that, it is very good also in larger meeting rooms with a nice bundle built around it. So this is what it looks like when you have a 180-degree screen. It'd be wonderful if we could have shown you us in it, but no one wants to see me on Panacast. But what will happen is the stitching is taking place well before the weightage being the people, and it's taking full immersion. This particular environment, that camera's right up against the wall, and the gentleman and the lady closest to the camera are actually sitting right in line with the camera at 180 degrees. Our nearest competitor can do 120 degrees, and this is a perfect example of how Panacast utilises space. What you'll notice what you'll notice here is Panacast can go right up against the wall underneath the screen and then utilise the full space, as opposed to our nearest competitor of 120 degrees, which you lose up to 45% of space in a huddle room. So we move to the next slide. This is a perfect example. So this is real. That gentleman right in the middle is actually Sune. He actually works for Jabra. He is our in-house model, and that is actually taken in our head office in Copenhagen using Panacast, plugged into a HP slice on the back of a screen, and being delivered through Teams. 180-degree field of view with HD high dynamic range set to vivid, so it's also countering for the brightness. And the other real big thing to notice is the field of the scale of distortion. How that same algorithm that does the stitching is also using the weightage rule to make sure that the field of so scale is not distorted, being that if you were to look at another competitor's product in 120 degrees, and I'll just note that that photo is, that camera is taken at the same time. The two people that are missing from the screen below are still sitting there. They're just not being taken in by the competitor's camera. And you'll see the significant scale distortion. Notice how Sune has started to squeeze into a little gap. He's considerably smaller than the two people next to him. That Panacast doesn't do that. What you can note is above Sune and the other participants, the room is bending, and what the algorithm does is it creates a space where the people are not being distorted, and it then moves the distortion onto the area around them so that you're fully utilizing that space. A couple of other features, I appreciate I've got time. Intelligent zoom. If you're not requiring 180 degrees, using Jabra Direct, you can a Panacast using its detection will make sure it will shrink it between 90 to 100 degrees, and it will adjust as people join the room. And we're not even going to talk about Panacast whiteboard because the team's whiteboard is considerably better, but there is also a whiteboard option. It's pretty straightforward. So what does it mean? It's all about data capture and full utilization of space. So there's return on investment. We're going to have a calculator available to show your customers the benefits of space utilization, but it's all about the 100% video, so the 180-degree capture of the full room. It has 2 microphones in the camera, but we also have the Speak 710, which I'm talking to you on right now. I'm sitting about 2 meters away from, and that's capturing our audio. That's also team certified. And then obviously there is the ability to capture the data that the camera is detecting. And then finally, just a little bit, being team certified, it is also used across multiple platforms. So being that you might have Teams users that use other platforms, and across Android, Windows, Mac, Android, and Linux. I think I'll leave it at that. Any questions, please feel free to put them through to Janine or Courtney, who is the product manager for Jabra at Exeed. And like I said, I'm always available. I've got a couple of Panacasts and I'm more than happy to take you through it. You guys are the experts, so I'm sure a lot of you are familiar about how to build your own huddle spaces. But that's it. Thanks very much, Janine.
Cool.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Chris. That was awesome. Now I'm just going to hand over to Simon Tebron, who's going to give you an update around our Teams calling solutions.
Great, thanks, Janine. Hi, everybody. Thanks again for your time. So, as I mentioned in last month's webinar, we've been working with a local provider for a calling solution to plug into Microsoft Teams. So I can announce today that we've landed on a reseller buy price of $13 per user, which will include local, national, and mobile calling, DDI. So effectively, it's a SIP trunk. We're including in that price setup of the session border controller, which will offer direct routing into Microsoft's cloud. We have only a minimum user count of 5. So for a small to medium business, this is going to be a perfect little solution with 5 users. There's going to be some setup fees of around, for that sort of 5 to 10 space, around $275. And then for a 10 plus, we'll just work with you on that. There'll be a base price and then a per user charge to set up. So we're probably going to land that at around the $295 for 10 users, and then it's going to increase based on a user count of around $8 per user. So we're good to go. It's going to have per minute charging for international and 0800, 0900 numbers, if any of you are calling those. And what that's going to entail is we'll invoice you based on the traffic that we see in Cordia's system, based on the per minute charging. So we'll have a rate card available with this pricing as we build the go-to-market campaign. So probably, I would say we're able to take orders and provision immediately. So if you do have any questions, or if you are interested in looking at the service, by all means, fire an email into my cloud store at Exeed, or if you've got my details or Janine's details, just fire an email directly to us, and we'll be able to help you through the process, as well as work with you on the pricing. So effectively, from a reseller buy perspective, you're looking at $13 for the call, for the calling service, and then for the phone system add-on to your Teams licensing, you're looking at a reseller buy of $10.20 per month. So for $23.20 per month, you're adding a full cloud PBX offering to your customers' existing enterprise licensing. At the moment, enterprise licensing is so E1, E3, E5 license, and in Microsoft 365, the enterprise plans are the ones that you can actually attach the phone system license to. There are some hacks where you can get it onto Business Premium. We'll work with you on those. If you do have any questions, feel free to come to us. But those, as I say, they're hacks around the current licensing regime, but it is being used widely from what we're seeing in the blog sphere online. So there are other opportunities there. It doesn't necessarily need to be a full organisation of enterprise users. But yeah, we'll just work with you on those as and when they arise. So for around $23 a month at a reseller buy, you're able to plug in a per user charge on a cloud PBX. And with some of the other Jabra offerings we have for headsets that are all certified for Teams, we're able to put together a full solution for you. So yeah, by all means, either get in touch with myself directly or the myCloud Store team. And we'll be able to work through the process. So on that note, I'll hand you back over to Kenny, who's going to take us through some really cool Azure stuff. Thanks, Kenny.
Of August. I'm just going to run through a few details on or updates on Azure at the moment that we've got. First up, Azure Lighthouse is now in general availability, which means all of our partners can go out and start implementing Lighthouse. I personally tested it myself, and there are some good use cases to develop business around Azure for this. I've already started working with a couple of partners, getting Lighthouse into their tenants and configuring them. But yeah, just hit me up if you need more information about this, and we can have a chat offline. SQL Server 2008 and 2008 R2 has already ended support. There is a new 4-core Azure SQL database managed instance on the Gen 5 instances in Azure right now. That's half the price of the previous minimum, which is the 8-core instance. It's actually a very good time to have a chat with the customers who have SQL Server hosted locally on premise to see if we can chuck them onto SQL Server managed instance or SQL Server single database. That said, if their application is required for SQL Server 2008, they can migrate their machine, the VM, into Azure and receive up to 3 years extended security updates. That is 3 years from the 9th of July 2019. Now, extended security updates plan only has critical and important security updates. This part of the extended security update does not include technical support. If you were to buy it yourself through SA or through the volume license or EA plans, you get technical support as well as part of that. The same is said with Windows Server 2008 and 2008 R2. That's coming end of life on the 14th of January 2020. If you migrate them into Azure, you would also receive the extended security updates as part of that migration. This gives you the opportunity to sort of modernize your application so that it can support Windows 2016 or 2019. Next, we'll talk about Azure Migrate a little bit. Now, this is a portal that is basically what they call is a one-stop shop for migration projects. It lets you sort of classify a project, and it's a starting point, really. A lot of you would be looking into the migrating VMs, so migrating servers, or also migrating databases. So this tool allows you to run an assessment tool on premise at the client's or the customer's tenant or customer's infrastructure. It goes through, analyzes all of the VMs on Hyper-V or VMware, and tells you what kind of machines, VMs that you should be using in Azure for it. The migration tool, so that's the assessment tool. The migration tool allows you to migrate. It uses ASR and allows you to migrate the machine, be it VM or physical machine, up into Azure through the tool itself. So it's pretty handy there. Here's a few sort of high-level information about that. So there you go. That's the server assessment portion of it. And that's the server migration part of it. For web applications, there is a portal, and this link is available from the Azure Migrate site. That links you to the App Migration Microsoft.com portal. What it does is basically it looks at a web application. You key in the web application's URL here. It'll tell you if it can migrate or what you need to do to migrate. If you've got an offline application that is not available to the internet, you can download an assessment assistant. You run that against the application, and it will allow you to assess the application and see how you can migrate. There's also a readiness check to see how you're ready. It's basically a checklist of all things that you need to check before migrating an application. Now, this is the SQL database data migration assistant. This is an example. This is the assistant itself, so not the migration service. This analyzes the database to see what kind of Azure service that you need to use. Then you've got the pricing. This is the pricing for the migration service. As you can see, standard databases, for standard migration, which is like an offline migration, it's actually free. It's only when you have a critical application or critical workload that requires the database to be always online. So you need like a stage migration, or if the database is just huge, so you need faster speeds. That's when you get that's when you start paying for the migration service. Note, this is migration service. It's not the end product database in Azure. That is still, you still have to pay for that. Other services to help you with migration planning or migration projects. There's the total cost of ownership calculator that basically lets you calculate how much is it currently you're paying for your infrastructure solution on premise or hosted in a data center or co-located data center, and then it lets you make that comparison to what if we hosted in the cloud. The Azure pricing calculator is used when you have drawn up a solution in Azure and you want to know how much it will cost. Use the Azure pricing calculator to sort of price that up. Now, these are good to get numbers around like the VMs and the database, and the fixed numbers like sizes and things like that. There is also bandwidth and data transfer and data outbound transfer that you need to sort of take into account. Those are the consumption-based things that catches people. Now, here's a little bit about myself. As I said before, I'm the Exeed Cloud Solutions Architect. I'm here available to help all of our partners for pre-sales, so project scoping, analysis, high-level architecture. I'll help you draw up high-level architectures to submit. We can, I'll help you out with statement of work stuff as well. Any engagement, any opportunities that you have, feel free to bring it up with me. We'll go through it and see what we can do. Detailed architecture and delivery. I can help your team deliver the project if it's too complex and you need technical ability there. I'm available to help out with that. I'm also available to run some training and workshops with your team. Any specific questions you have, if you want to know more about Azure Express Route, you want to know more about migrating data, you want to know more about Lighthouse, we can run a workshop around that. Governance and optimization, business development for Azure Solutions. That's basically talking with the sales team or maybe strategy team about what products we can build on Azure to sell to your customers. Being a CSP partner that you're all in, the advantage of being CSP is basically you get to build your product set and add in added value adds for your customers and sell that, rather than just directly reselling services on Azure and Microsoft. The strengths around CSP is mainly actually bundling and selling additional services. So talk to me about all that. I'm available. My email address is here. We've got some upcoming training events that Janine will look after this. Back to you, Janine.
Thanks, Kenny. So I just wanted to cover off some upcoming training events that are happening in Auckland and around. So first off, we've got a Microsoft 365 webinar series. So this is a quarterly partner webinar, and it provides you training and resources that will help you grow your revenue around the Microsoft 365 product suite. The series is made up of web-based sales and technical training, and it will feature the top Microsoft practice areas, and that is teamwork, small business, and security and compliance. So I encourage you, if you follow those links on this way, that will take you through to the appropriate RSVP page. And lastly, I just wanted to cover off Exeed's Microsoft and Sophos Roadshow, which we are running in Wellington and also in Christchurch. So join Microsoft and Sophos, where they are the two Gartner's Magic Quadrant leaders for endpoint protection platforms, and they will be talking about security in the public cloud. We've got speaker Nick Westbrook from Microsoft, and also Peter Gordon, who is the Sophos Senior Security Architect. There is a Wellington breakfast, which is from 8:30 till 10:30 on Tuesday, the 24th of September, and that's held at the Harbourside Function venue. And in Christchurch, we're running a sort of a pre-dinner, which is from 4 to 6 on Wednesday, the 25th of September at the Ducks Central. So I've got a registration link there for you to follow through. And that's basically a wrap from us today. So thank you for joining us. And if you have any questions, please feel free to fire it through to any of our people that you can see on the screen now. There is some links there to their email address and phone number. Thanks, everybody.